So Keir Starmer just came out with one of the most ridiculous press conferences I've ever seen from a politician regarding the situation that's currently going on with Iran, the US, the UK, Israel. Let's have a look.
Earlier this morning, the United States and Israel struck targets in Iran. Iran has since launched indiscriminate strikes across the region. I know the British people and communities across our country will be deeply concerned about what this means for security and stability.
Before we go further, talking about security and stability, before giving press releases regarding other countries, maybe have a look internally. What about all these immigrants that are getting into the country? Um, don't be a hypocrite. If you're going to deal with security and stability, look at the UK as well.
And for the fate of innocent people across the region, which for so many of us includes friends and family members. So whilst the situation is evolving very quickly, I want to set out our response. The United Kingdom played no role in these strikes.
So for some strange reason, Keir Starmer, or not so strange reason, Keir Starmer is proud that the UK did not partake in these strikes. Now, why is he so proud? Isn't the regime an evil regime that's been funding and supporting Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and they themselves been attacking all sorts of locations over the West? So why is he happy that he did not partake in the strikes?
But we have long been clear. The regime in Iran is utterly abhorrent. They have murdered thousands of their own people, brutally crushed dissent, and sought to destabilize the region, even in the United Kingdom.
So he's recognizing something pretty fundamental, how evil the regime is, or he claims he understands it at least. I don't know if his actions follow, but in his press conference, he's understanding how they're evil, how they want to destroy all sorts of regions across the world.
The Iranian regime poses a direct threat to dissidents and to the Jewish community.
So he's recognizing that, furthermore, they're a direct threat to the UK and to Jewish communities.
Over the last year alone, they have backed more than 20 potentially lethal attacks on UK soil. So it is clear they must never be allowed to develop a nuclear weapon.
So it seems like he understands something pretty fundamental, something we all understand, that Iran cannot hold nukes, which is, if they did, stuff would be very different. This evil Iranian regime. So he's got his head screwed together somewhat until now, but now we have to try and understand what he's going to do with this information, or he's just going to sit there and do nothing.
That remains the primary aim of the United Kingdom and our allies, including the US. I condemn Iran's attacks today on partners across the region, many of which are not parties to this conflict. We extend our support and solidarity to them as part of our commitments to the security of our allies in the Middle East. We have a range of defensive capabilities in the region, which we've recently strengthened. Our forces are active, and British planes are in the sky today as part of coordinated regional defensive operations.
So what exactly are they doing? He's pretty proud that they weren't part of the offensive, but they're there for defensive. I'm pretty sure Israel and the US combined have a lot there. The US sent a couple aircraft carriers. They've sent a couple hundred planes, bombers, refueling tankers, spy planes. So I don't know what a couple little planes from the UK flying overhead is really going to do. Maybe they just want to a cruise, a like nice little welcome to a Jet 2 holiday over the Middle East. But okay, maybe he wants to feel somehow part of it.
to protect our people, our interests, and our allies, as Britain has done before, in line with international law. We've stepped up protections for British bases and personnel to their highest level. We are also reaching out to UK nationals in the region and doing everything we can to support them.
Okay, so he's reaching out to British nationals in the region. No one's reached out to me. No British nationals that I know have been reached out to, but what will he really do by reaching out to these people? Like, what is it that he can do? He's not arranged any emergency evacuation flights. Um, Maybe I'll keep on reminding them that they're living in occupied Palestinian territories or some ridiculous statement like that. But who knows?
I've been speaking with leaders today from the E3 and across the region. It is vital that we prevent further escalation and return to a diplomatic process. We want to see peace and security.
So he wants to return to peace, security, a diplomatic process, all these things which we really do want with Iran. But he's just said that Iran cannot have nukes. So make up your mind. Do you want to go through peace? But that's not just going to come by condemning. That's going to come by action, by something that Donald Trump has multiple times said: peace through strengths, especially with the Iranian regime.
And the protection of civilian life. Iran can end this now. They should refrain from further strikes, give up their weapons programs, and cease the appalling violence and repression against the Iranian people.
Okay, so there again, he keeps on recognizing the fact how evil the Iranian regime is, or was pretty much by now after Khamenei's dead, and a bunch of leaders. Credit to Israel and the US, not to the UK. So he's recognizing how evil they are, but he's just saying everybody should stop, as if like just condemning this, posting a couple tweets on Twitter, a couple press releases, now they're gonna stop. I don't think he understands that with the Iranian regime, it doesn't work like that.
Who deserve the right to determine their own future.
Exactly, the Iranian people deserve the right to determine their own future. But that's unable to happen with this regime in place. This will only happen once the evil regime gets toppled from, most likely from within, with the help from the outside, by bombing out the regime, the police, and all the evil facilities and the commanders and the nuclear programs. And then from within, it'll be a lot easier to topple the evil regime. So that is how it's done, not by just condemning.
In line with our long-standing position. This is the route to de-escalation and back to the negotiating table.
Something that really strikes me throughout this press conference is the part where he says Iran or the Iranian regime cannot have nukes, which is something that pretty obviously most of us understand why that is evil. In fact, during the 12-day war in June, when the US and Israel striked the Iranian nuclear research centers and different facilities and scientists for the nukes in Iran, had that strike not happened, Iran would have had nukes by now, according to many intelligence sources. So that was fundamental. But if I remember correctly, during the press conference from Keir Starmer during that 12-day war, he gave a very similar press conference and he emphasized how he's almost like proud that he did not partake in the strike. Rest assured, don't worry, the UK did not partake in the strike. Why are you so proud? Do you not realize that the Iranians, if they have nukes, how evil that would be? If during this conflict, currently today, the Iranian regime would have nukes, do you realize how evil that could be? Do you realize how deadly that could be? Besides for the UK's ally then to NATO and to the West and to the Jewish communities around the world, but to the UK itself. You just said yourself in the press conference that there's been 20 potentially lethal attacks in the UK over the past year that the Iranian regime were behind. So what do you think would happen if they'd have nukes? I honestly sometimes fail to understand what's going on in Keir Starmer's head. Like, what's he thinking? He realizes that the Iranian regime is evil, but he's not willing to do anything. He's proud to not doing anything. Like, how does that make sense? Tweeting on Twitter, that's not for a leader of a country. That's somebody just sitting behind a desk. A leader of a country is required to do far more than just tweeting, than just giving a couple press releases. It requires action.